Let's now look at the forehand block against a topspin. Perhaps one of the simpler strokes in table tennis, but still a stroke with a lot of things that you have to focus on getting right. Firstly, the first thing that probably strikes you is that it's really not that much different from the forehand counter hit. It can sometimes be hard to tell the two apart. The length of the swing is really the giveaway here, plus less focus on really top spinning the ball and more on just making solid contact and controlling the top spin of the opponent just by the racket tilt. So we'll go to a slow-mo version and you'll see bat brought back not quite as far, and the forward swing itself is only a few inches but blends into the recovery of the stroke. So even though the forehand swing is really rather limited, it's only maybe 9 inches to a foot in length, perhaps even less than that. Because I then move smoothly into the recovery and getting back into my ready position, it makes it look like the forehand swing is a little bit longer than what it really is. The bat's almost brought back into just the place where I want to make contact. Contact being made relatively few inches above net height, which allows for me to then block the ball forwards. I don't have to block the ball upwards. To get it over the net, I can block the ball forwards, and we'll see now in the slow motion, bat brought back, really only a few inches of swing before contact is made, and the ball travelling pretty much very little upwards, mainly forwards, and straight back into recovery. The stance again, still in a basic forehand stance. The bat still being brought back by the turning of the shoulders and body, so it's not just the upper arm bringing it back. Tilting of the racket there, slight upwards movement of the ball. If I was blocking a little faster, I wouldn't need to hit as upwards, I'd just go more forwards. And the follow through, short but moving into the recovery back to ready position. Free arm again just being used for balanced. Watching the ball right onto the bat, controlling it with really the tilting of the bat, a little bit of swing upwards and forwards, but very minimal, and it really is virtually a very short forehand counter hit. And now just have a quick look from the forehand, from the front view. Again, you can see that the contact's out to the side of the body. For shorter balls, you may need to reach forward a little bit more, and that will necessitate the fact that you'll probably need to not make contact quite as much out to the side of the body, because you'll have to be reaching forward. Again, bat straight back into the path of the ball. Contact not right off the bounce, but above net height. Watching the ball closely, which is again important against a very strong attack from your opponent. You've got to make sure that you really do know where that ball's going. I'm not attempting to put a lot of top spin on the ball myself. My motion for this block is minimal. I don't tend to use a lot of dead bat blocks where the bat is held completely still, simply because after playing for so many years, I'm used to putting a little bit more forward power into the block. So there is almost always a little bit of swing. You can see that for the length of the swing stops there and then just moves into the recovery mode, going back into my ready position. But the turning of the shoulders is still there to bring the bat back, and turn through to bring the bat forward. And now we just go to the very slow motion version. Watching the bounce of the ball, minimal forward swing, and coming back into recovery. But as you can see, the bat's being brought back by the turning of the body, not just leaving the shoulders in position and flipping the forearm out to try and make that block, but really making the block virtually a very small forehand counter hit. And that makes things easier, because then there's not much difference between your block and your counter hit, and it makes it much easier to use both versions and anything you like in between. because they're both essentially just larger and shorter, smaller versions.